Hi students, welcome to PhD Jobs and Admission. This is Gauri. So in today's session, I'm going to teach you about Pondicherry University's PhD Entrance Test 2023's Research Methodology subject. And in today's session, we are going to see PhD Entrance Tests Research Methodology PYQs of the year 2018. So students, after viewing this session, your concepts relevant to research methodology will get clear, and as well you will get an idea exactly what type of MCQs you will be asking in the research methodology section of the PhD entrance test at Pondicherry University, and as well most of the MCQs or PYQs gets repetitively asked in every year, so that you can solve these repetitive MCQs as well. Okay, so students, this session is really very important to all the candidates. That's why you need to watch this session until the end. So now let us begin. So students, as you know that there is PhD entrance test at Pondicherry University, under which you will be asking 50% MCQs on research methodology and 50% MCQs on concerned subject, right? And that's why students, you need to score at least 50% marks in the PhD entrance test so that you can qualify this test. So to qualify this test, we provide you complete course on research methodology so that all the candidates can guaranteed score 50% marks in research methodology, and after that they can surely qualify the PhD entrance test at Pondicherry University. So in this complete course, we provide full syllabus video lectures under which theory and MCQ lectures both are available. We provide full syllabus notes and mock tests. So we have 10 mock tests like this. Each mock test contains 40 MCQs. That's why overall all the students can solve 400 MCQs in these mock tests. So by solving mock tests, students can think about how much preparation they want and how much preparation they have did until now. We provide you more than 1500 MCQs revision PDF. By the use of this revision PDF, all the students can revise all the topics in a single PDF, and that's why they will be getting 80% MCQs from this PDF only out of 100% MCQs in the research methodology section of the PhD entrance test. And all of these study materials will be available in both the languages, that is Hindi and English. Okay, so students, if you want to buy this complete course, then you can either download the Global Online app from the Play Store. For that I have given the link in the description box of this video, or else you can contact me on these WhatsApp numbers. Okay, the course fees are only 699, and in these low fees we provide guaranteed selection to all the candidates. Okay, now let us begin. Dash represents a general principle that guides problem solving, though it does not guarantee a correct solution. So from these options, which is the option that represents a general principle which guides for solving problem, as well it does not guarantee a correct solution on problem solving. So whether it is insight, whether it is trial and error, whether it is algorithm, whether it is heuristics. So students, the correct answer for this question is 4, that is heuristics, because heuristics is a general principle which guides us on problem solving, but it does not give us a guarantee for correct solution of the problem. Okay, so heuristics is a general problem solving framework which can guide problem solving, though it does not guarantee a correct solution. It can be a thought of as mental shortcut that is used to solve problems. So basically heuristics is nothing but a thought, okay, of our mental shortcut, and that we basically use to solve the problems, and that's why it does not give us a guarantee that our solution will be correct. Okay, in a study of gender effects on career choice among emerging adults in a government college, the independent variable is dash. Now there is a study, and there we are studying on gender effects on career choice among adults in a government college. So in this study, which is the independent variable, whether it is age, whether it is type of college, whether it is gender, whether it is career choice. So students, there are two variables in this study. One is gender and another one is career choice. Okay, so here we are studying the gender effects on career choice of the adults in a government college, right? And that's why we are studying here the gender effects on something else. Okay, that's why here your independent variable will be what? Gender, because here you are studying the effects of gender on career choice, and that's why here you are changing the values of gender so that the values of career choice will automatically will change. That's why here the independent variable is what? Gender, and the dependent variable will be what? Career choice, because here you are changing the values of gender, and we basically change the values of independent variable in the study. That's why here your correct answer is what? 3, that is gender. So students, apart from this, we provide PU PhD entrance test paper to study material. By the use of this study material, all the students can guaranteed score more marks in paper 2 and they can qualify the PhD entrance test. In this study material, we provide full syllabus, notes and MCQs. By the use of these MCQs, all the students can guaranteed score more marks in the paper 2. In these MCQs, we provide most expected MCQs and PYQs. By the use of these most expected MCQs and PYQs, all the students can guaranteed score more marks in entrance exam for paper 2. As well, they can give the interview very well by the using this paper 2 study material, because in the interview session, basically examiners ask you about the research proposal on a specific topic, and that's why on that specific topic we provide full syllabus, notes and MCQs. So by the use of them, obviously you can give the answers in the interview questions as well in the entrance exam questions. So the paper 2 study material fees are only 999, and in this low fees we provide guaranteed selection to all the candidates. So the subjects that I have shown on this screen, on all of these subjects we provide paper to study material currently. So if you want paper to study material for any other subject, then you can ask me in the comment box. So students, to join our courses, you can contact me through these WhatsApp numbers. Okay. The title of a formal written research report should be about dash words in length. Now students, the title of a formal written research report should be how much words in length? 5 to 15, 10 to 20, 5 to 10, 10 to 12. So students, title of formal written research report should be basically short and to the point, and typically it should be around 10 to 12 words in length. Okay. So it is very important to include all of the essential terms in your paper in the research report title, and should avoid unnecessary jargon and abbreviation in it. Okay, that's why here your correct answer is what? 10 to 12. This is your normal or expected word length of title of research report. Okay. Sampling method that focuses on important subpopulations and allows use of random sampling techniques for different subpopulations is dash. Now students, from these sampling methods, which is the sampling method which focuses on important subpopulations and allows use of random sampling technique for different subpopulations. So what is that? Whether it is stratified sampling, cluster sampling, quota sampling or accidental sampling. So students, now let us see first of all of these sampling techniques. Stratified sampling is the sampling technique under which we use random sampling technique. Okay, random sampling technique means we assign the participants randomly. Basically we choose the samples from the target population randomly. Okay, so in this sampling technique we have a target population. So from that target population we divide the population into subpopulations. Okay, and from that subpopulation again we select the samples randomly. Okay, in the cluster sampling again we have the target population. Again here we use the random sampling. Here we make a subpopulations from the target population, but we clusterly randomly use these subpopulations. Okay, in cluster sampling. Now the quota sampling. So this quota sampling is nothing but what? Random sampling technique. Okay, so this is Yeah, so quota sampling is nothing but what? Non-random sampling technique. So this is non-random sampling technique, and here we have the target population and we make the subpopulations from the target population, but we does not randomly select the samples from the subpopulation. Basically here we choose the sample because of the certain characteristics within them, and we want those characteristics in our research study. Okay, accidental sampling is again the non-random sampling technique, and from this sampling technique basically researchers select the samples according to their convenience. So accidentally somehow if the sample comes in front of the researcher, then researcher accepts it in their study. Okay, so here they have asked you about what? Random sampling technique. That's why the two options, those are quota sampling and accidental sampling, will get what? Eliminated. So the remaining options are what? Stratified sampling and cluster sampling. But again they have asked you that the sampling technique basically focus on what? Important subpopulations, and they allow the use of random sampling technique for different subpopulations. That's why here your correct answer should be what? Stratified sampling, because in the stratified sampling you have the subpopulation, but from the subpopulation you randomly select the samples. Okay, exactly in this question exactly the similar thing is happening. That's why here your correct answer is what? 1, not cluster sampling, because in the cluster sampling you are randomly selecting the subpopulations as it is. Okay, testing hypothesis is dash. Now what is testing hypothesis? Whether it is data analysis, whether it is data preparation, whether it is inferential statistics, or whether it is descriptive and statistics. So students, testing hypothesis is nothing but a formal procedure, okay, for investigating our ideas about the world using statistics. So testing hypothesis is nothing but a formal procedure through which we can investigate our ideas about the world using statistical what? Techniques. Okay, so let us see first of all of these options. Now let us see what is data analysis. Now students, data analysis is nothing but a procedure of inspecting, okay, the procedure of what? Inspecting, then cleaning, then transforming and modeling data to discover useful information and inform conclusion and support decision making. So basically data analysis is nothing but taking out the essential things from the raw data, and after those essential things we can make up the conclusion based upon it. Okay, now what is data preparation? Now this data preparation basically comes under data analysis. It involves cleaning, transforming and organizing raw data into formation that can be easily analyzed. So data preparation is the step which comes under what? Data analysis, under which we inspect, clean and transform raw data so that it will be useful for us for further analysis or interpretation. Okay, now let us see what is descriptive and statistics. So descriptive and statistics both are basically different words, but whenever you make it a single word, and it becomes what? Descriptive statistics. So this descriptive statistics is nothing but a branch of statistics which deals with collection. Okay, so it deals with what? Collection, then analysis, interpretation, then presentation and organization of data. So basically it uses summary statistics, then graphs and tables to describe data set. This is useful for helping us gain quick and easy understanding of data set without pouring overall of individual data values. So basically descriptive statistics uses whatever summary statistics is there, graphs will be there, tables will be there. So it uses these techniques, and they describe the data set by using these techniques, and it is very easy and quick understanding technique of the data. Okay, now the remaining option is what? Inferential statistics. Now this inferential statistics is another branch of statistics, but it uses samples to draw inferences about larger population. So whenever we want to draw the inferences about larger population, then for that purpose we use the samples. Okay, so whenever we use the samples for these purposes, then we are using what? Inferential statistical technique. Okay, so this technique is used to make educated guess about assumption using statistics. With the use of sample data, hypothesis testing makes an assumption about how true assumption is for entire population from where sample is being taken. So basically for this, what we do, we take the sample from the target population, and based upon this we make a assumption, okay, about the sample, and this assumption is nothing but what? Hypothesis. Okay, and we basically test this hypothesis by using inferential statistical techniques, and after testing this hypothesis we will get the conclusion of our result. And that's why testing hypothesis is nothing but what? Inferential statistics, because within inferential statistics we use the assumption statement, and we nothing but what? We basically test this assumption statement, and then after that we get the results. Okay, which of the following statements about the qualitative quantitative debate is incorrect? So here they have given us different options, and within these options they have given us different statements about qualitative and quantitative debate, and we need to identify the incorrect statement about qualitative quantitative debate. Okay, positivism stresses the importance of observable and observed facts in the accumulation of knowledge. Positivism applies to quantitative methods. Qualitative researchers often fail to recognize positivism as the epistemological basis of their work. It became equated with relatively crude and quantified methods. Okay, so students, positivism is nothing but a research approach, or you can say research perspective. So in this research perspective, we think that whatever we observe in front of our eyes, so these observable things are measurable, and the things those are observable and measurable are nothing but a true facts in the world, and because of these true facts we can accumulate the knowledge. That's why basically positivism stresses the importance of observable and observed facts in the accumulation of knowledge. So this statement is what? Correct. Okay, positivism basically applies to quantitative methods, because within the positivism approach what we do, we observe and measure the facts, and exactly the similar things we do in quantitative methods. That's why it applies to quantitative methods. So this is correct. It become equated with relatively crude and quantified methods. This is also a correct statement, because positivism basically equated with relatively crude and quantified methods, because under which we think about that observable and observed facts are nothing but what? Measurable facts, and so that they are true in the world. So the remaining option, which is 3, is actually incorrect option, because though qualitative researchers does not recognize positivism as the epistemological basis of their work, but they recognize other approaches, okay, such as interpretivism, then constructivism or critical theory, which emphasize importance of understanding the subjective meanings and experiences of individuals and groups. Okay, and that's why qualitative researchers basically adopt alternative epistemological approaches, and those are what? Interpretivism, then constructivism, and critical theory. And these epistemological approaches basically emphasize importance of understanding the subjective meanings and experiences of individuals and groups. And basically we want to understand these experiences and everything in the qualitative research, right? And exactly for that only qualitative researchers understand the epistemological approaches such as interpretivism, critical theory and constructivism. So the third option is incorrect about qualitative and quantitative debate. Okay. The term statistical significance refers to. Now what is the meaning of the term statistical significance? Whether it is inference from representative of a normal population, analysis with positive results, inference that the results are unlikely to be due to chance, significance of the test used. So students, now let us see first of all what is statistical significance. Okay. So students, statistical significance refers to inference. Okay. Basically it refers to what? Inference, and this inference is nothing but results of study which are unlikely to be due to chance. So these inferences are nothing but what? Results of study, and these results are to be due to, basically these results are unlikely. Okay. Unlikely due to chance. So here the word unlikely is very important. Okay. So statistical significance are the inferences which are the results of study that are due to unlikely due to chance. So these results are not due to a chance. So the results are not due to a chance, and the inference of these results are nothing but what? Statistical significance. Okay. And this is determined by calculating p-value. So we can calculate the p-value for this, and this p-value measures basically probability that results of study could have occurred by chance. Okay. If the p-value is below predetermined threshold, basically 0.05, so whenever p-value is below 0.05, then the results are considered statistically significant, meaning that it is unlikely that observed relationship between variables occurred by chance. That's why whenever you see all of these options, then you will understand that statistical significance is nothing but what? Inference that the results are unlikely to be due to chance. That's why here your correct answer should be what? 3. Variability refers to. Now what is the meaning of variability? Exact midpoint of the distribution, spread of a scores around the central tendency, convergence of scores towards a line, geometrical distribution of the scores around the central point. Okay. So students, variability means whenever there is a whole data set, and for the whole data set there is a central tendency of that data set. Central tendency means the central position data. So variability is nothing but what? How much your data points are spread, okay, around the central tendency of this data set. That's why here your correct answer should be what? 2. Variability refers to what? Spread of a scores around their central tendency. And if you think about the measurements of variability, then they are what? Standard deviation, then range, then variance, etc. Okay, all of these are nothing but what? Measurements of variability. Which of the following is against the research ethics? So from these options, which of the option is against research ethics? Debriefing, confidentiality, deception, informed consent. So students, as we know that research ethics are nothing but the rules and guidelines and legal guidelines for the researchers to conduct the research, right? And there are lots of research ethics, but there is a one option which is against the research ethics, and this is nothing but what? Deception. Okay, now let us see what is the meaning of deception. Deception is against research ethics, and it occurs when participants are misled about nature or purpose of research, and it is generally considered unethical because it violates principle of informed consent, which requires that participants be fully informed about nature and purpose of research, okay, and freely agree to participate. Basically deception means that whenever researcher misled, okay, the participants about the nature of the study. Okay, and this is very important. Whenever participants does not know everything about the nature of the study, and after that they participate in the research study, and whenever something bad happens to the participants, then obviously it happens because of the researchers faulty behavior, and this is nothing but what? Deception. And that's why deception is comes under, the thing which is unethical. And deception is unethical because it violates the principle of informed consent. Okay, informed consent means that researcher have to give all the information about the research study to the participants. They should get the sign on the informed consent from the participants that they know everything about the nature of the study, and after that only they agreed to participate into the research study. So these things are really very important, and that's why deception is against research ethics. And all the other options, those are debriefing, confidentiality, and informed consent, are the research ethics. Okay, a systematic forecasting method that involves structured interaction among a group of experts on a subject without disclosing the identity is called dash. Now from these methods, which is the method which is a systematic forecasting method, and in this method it involves structured interaction among a group of experts on a subject, and here we don't disclose the identity of the experts. Okay, whether it is focus group method, interacting group method, nominal group method, or Delphi method. So students, within the focus group method there are the participants in a single group, and those participants have the common characteristics, and that's why they are in a single group. Okay, so these participants give us their opinion about the specific topic. Okay, fine. So this is what focus group method. Now what is interacting group method? So within the interacting group method, okay, there is a group decision making process that involves bringing together group of individuals to discuss problem or issue and reach on a consensus. So within the interacting group method there is face to face interaction of the participants, and that's why here everyone knows the identity of the participants. So this option gets what? Eliminated. Again focus group option gets what? Eliminated, because here again there is common characteristics of the participants in a group, and there are no any experts in the group. There are only participants, and they give us the opinion about the topic. Now what is a nominal group method? Now nominal group method is a structured method. Okay, and there is a method for group brainstorming that encourages contribution from all members, and it is used to generate and prioritize ideas and solution to a problem. So basically nominal group method is a method which is a structured method for a group, and because of this method this is a brainstorming technique for all the participants, and again here there are the participants, not the experts, right? That's why this option gets eliminated. And because of this nominal group method we can generate and prioritize ideas or solutions to the problem. And the remaining option is what? Delphi technique, which is your correct answer, because within the Delphi technique, okay, we gather expert opinions and reach consensus through series of structured questionnaires and feedback rounds. And here the anonymity of participants allows them to express their opinions freely without being influenced by opinions of others in group. So within the Delphi technique we basically gather the opinions of the experts within the group, and here we disclose the identity of the experts so that experts can give their opinions freely. Okay, that's why here your correct answer is what? 4, that is Delphi technique. So students, thank you for watching this session. I hope all of you understood everything, whatever we have seen, the concepts about research methodology in this session. But still, if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment box.